Welcome to our daily prayer of faith from the Pray With Me channel. Today, we will be guiding you in a spiritual battle for victory as we turn to the inspiring Psalm 68. Psalm 68 is a powerful tool for all believers who want to connect more deeply with God and overcome spiritual challenges in their lives. Throughout this video, we will explore the themes contained in Psalm 68 and how we can apply them to our daily lives. This psalm offers us a spiritual guide for our journey, helping us seek God's protection, guidance to strengthen our strength and ability to overcome obstacles and challenges that may arise. Psalm 68 will become our prayer framework, and through the power of prayer, we will be able to access the same divine strength and wisdom that the ancient Israelites experienced during their wilderness journeys. Whether you are facing personal struggles, seeking spiritual renewal, or simply want to grow closer to God, this guide will offer the tools and inspiration you need to pray Psalm 68 and achieve victory in your life. We invite you to join us on this journey as we explore Psalm 68 and learn to access God's divine power and strength through His powerful words. May this prayer be an instrument for your spiritual victory. The Spiritual Journey, an overview of Psalm 68. Psalm 68 is a spiritual war psalm. When we read its verses, we are taken to a spiritual battlefield, where we seek the presence of God and fight against the enemies that try to bring us down. This powerful song offers a roadmap for our spiritual journey and helps us understand the power of prayer. Verse 1, the invitation to prayer. God arises, His enemies are scattered, those who hate Him flee before Him. In this opening verse, we are invited to rise up and unite with God, our protector and defender. When we recognize God's presence and the strength He brings, we can see how our enemies are scattered and defeated. It reminds us that in our spiritual journey, prayer is our weapon and God is our commander. Verses 2-3, God reveals Himself, as smoke is driven away, so you drive them. As wax melts before the fire, so the wicked perish before God. In these verses, we understand that when we approach God sincerely, our faith becomes unshakable and our enemies, like wax before the fire, are consumed by the divine flame. Prayer brings us closer to God, and it is in this encounter that we find our strength. Verses 4-6, the joy of God's justice. Let the righteous be glad, let them be glad in the presence of God, let them be glad for joy. Here, we realize that God's justice brings joy to righteous hearts. When we trust in God and remain faithful to His ways, we find joy in His presence. This joy is a reminder that, on the spiritual journey, victory lies in being righteous and faithful to divine principles. Verses 7-10, God as protector and defender. O God, when you went out in front of your people, when you marched through the wilderness, when the earth stood still, even the sky itself distilled before God. In these verses, we see God as our guide and protector, leading us through the deserts of our lives. God's presence is so powerful that nature itself reacts, and the earth trembles before His majesty. It reminds us that on our spiritual journey, God is ahead of us, leading the way and making the impossible possible. Verses 11-14, the message of victory. The Lord announced the good news, great was the multitude of those who published the news. Here we see victory being proclaimed. God is portrayed as the one who brings good news, and a large number of messengers spread the news of His power. This teaches us that on the spiritual journey, our victory is a message to be shared with the world. When we trust God and experience His victory, our responsibility is to share this good news with others. Verses 15 to 20, Communion with God. Hear the news and rejoice, all you who fear God. Glorify Him, descendants of Jacob, rejoice, descendants of Israel. In these verses, we see the call to communion with God. Those who fear Him and glorify Him are invited to rejoice and rejoice in the divine presence. Prayer is the means by which we draw closer to God, experience His presence, and rejoice in His fellowship. Verses 21 to 28, the defeat of enemies, the princes of Judah and their armies, the princes of Zebulun, the princes of Naphtali. These verses describe the defeat of God's enemies. Just as the armies of Judah, Zebulun, and Naphtali triumphed over their enemies, believers can also experience victory when they trust in God. Our spiritual journey involves facing and overcoming spiritual enemies, with God as our commander. Conclusion: A. Victory through prayer with Psalm 68. As we explore Psalm 68, we remember that prayer is our powerful tool on the spiritual journey. This psalm guides us in spiritual battle, brings us closer to God, and reminds us that victory is possible through faith and righteousness. We invite you to pray Psalm 68 and experience divine power in your life. If you liked this video and want more spiritual content, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to receive regular updates. Share this video with friends and family, so they too can participate in this journey of faith and victory. Leave your prayer request in the comments, and our prayer warriors will join you in seeking spiritual victory. Psalm 68 reminds us that with God by our side, we can overcome every battle. Keep praying, trusting, and glorifying the Lord, and you will experience victory in every area of your life. Thank you for joining us on this journey of faith and divine power. May God bless your spiritual journey and guide you to victory.